Anyway, we got 3 cases of hoax hate before we get to the movie review, so I will have to keep these running quickly, but it is that time of night.
And now, the nobody saw it happen, but it's totally a product of Trump's America hoax hate crime of the week.
Ah, shit, it's backwards. You think they'll notice?
Well, in the first one, the swastika is not in fact backward. It is correctly oriented, if not, well, it is at the wrong angle. But, they got the S shape right. It is fraudulent nonetheless. In Brooklyn, New York City, of course, a vandal spray painted a pair of swastikas over bus stop ads that denounced anti-Semitism. The ad reads, "We're just 75 years since the gas chambers, so no, a billboard calling out Jew hate isn't an overreaction. Hashtag end Jew hate. JewBelong.com."
Come on!
Video captured the suspect committing the spray painting before sitting inside the bus stop to wait for a bus. Just not even trying to hide it, I guess. Stacy Stewart, who is the co-founder of Jew Belong, said, quote, "The fact that our sign was spray painted with a swastika, let alone in broad daylight, isn't surprising." And I suppose I agree that it's not surprising, considering how commonly this sort of thing is faked. Just like it was in this case, investigation identified 45-year-old Jewish woman Farnoosh Hakakian as the suspect. She has been arrested, according to Andy No on Twitter. I suppose it could be self-hate, self-loathing, real hate crime. I don't know. Her motives are not explained.
JewBelong?
JewBelong.com. Just amping up their own advertising. Well, here's a case of something that's a little bit new. We've seen so many episodes of noose hysteria. Of course, you can't have a knot of any sort of a loop shape tied into a rope without it being presumed hateful these days. Well,
even if you need specifically that for something you're doing.
Correct. Even if it has a perfectly reasonable practical purpose. In this case, there actually was a noose, or at least a replica one. But this is in Elmendorf, Texas, outside of San Antonio. A ranch was for sale for $3.9 million. It's a 5-acre ranch property. And a user browsing listings noticed that one of the photos for the property showed a replica 1800s jailhouse on this property with a noose hanging from the tree outside of the jailhouse. So the user filed a complaint and Zillow removed the listing from its website. Redfin also removed the listing later. Now,
oh, come on.
I had to see what this was all about. I found a listing for the property on another website, and it shows some of the property features, like here's an old style saloon that's on the property, made to look like an 1800s kind of setup, and it looks really cool. Did a little more searching, and there's an Instagram video of this young woman called Zillotastrophes. I assume she does something with property, a property on Zillow or whatever. She's going through the property here, and she's captured an image of what this actually was and said this is probably ill-advised by the real estate agent. But there you can see it's an old style jail, like it's some 1800s setup. And then the tree outside the jail has a noose. And speaking of practical purposes, I don't know if this is functional, but if the theme is 1800s justice, hanging was a commonly applied form of 1800s justice, regardless of race. But we can't have that. So, I don't know. I would say that like seems like a cool property with this throwback theme, but I looked at it and it's all like the rest is all like 70s throwback. It's not like complete.
That's not good.
I thought this could be, my own little Dutton Ranch or something like that, but instead it's a bunch of 70s country music, Dolly Parton type stuff,
Maybe that's cool, but be consistent with your decor.
Yeah, you gotta go the whole way through. But all right, I've if you have like certain, I don't know, if you have certain home decor that's disallowed on Zillow or other real estate listings now. Okay. Well, here's another one that's in ways a repeat of past attempts, in ways at least a little bit original. In Lawrence, Kansas, 2 black roommates say they found a note at their apartment building's community center saying that, quote, "If you aren't white, don't come in." You got that under control?
No.
What the hell's going on with that?
I'm so blurry. It just happened all
We
of a
should set
sudden.
that up so it's not on autofocus. It should just stay put. But
It'll get better or not. I don't know.
maybe if you disable and re-enable your camera, maybe try that. Okay, so Lawrence, Kansas, 2 black roommates say they found a note at their apartment building's community center that said, "If you aren't white, don't come in. Our property manager does not deal with your kind."
Emily Martin simply wanting to study in her apartment's study room when she found this letter on the door.
If you aren't white, don't come in. Our property manager doesn't deal with your kind.
Immediately sending a picture to her roommate.
It's kind of scary because this is where we live. So it's scary to think that we can't even go to use our amenities that we pay for.
It's just scary to think that people still kind of think that way. It's 2022 and people are still ignorant,
While we were at the complex, we saw
ignorant?
this sign posted at the front entrance. Tonight, the apartment complex is responding, saying it wasn't one of their employees.
I didn't think it was posted by the property manager, but it was kind of I could be living next to someone who posted that.
People of color, we can feel somewhat safe in a place, but we're never completely feeling at home or safe because stuff like this can happen.
It's so racist,
Oh my God. Do you know what's annoying about this? I presume that the surrounding people are white. Tell me about your level of personal safety if you're living amongst a bunch of black people in the ghetto. And then get back to me.
Well, there were
about how you feel unsafe now.
There were choices to live in this particular area. That's what makes it baffling. Why do you, if it's so racist and so scary, why do you continue to remain? But yeah, I mean, we're supposed to believe that this apartment complex rents to black people, but then doesn't deal with them after the fact. So sure.
Yeah, why would she even bother renting to them?
We'll sign the contract, but if you have any complaints, get the hell out. Because we don't deal with your kind, except for housing them for pay.
Yeah.
Okay. But then they back off and say, well, we don't know. We actually don't think it was the apartment manager. We think it was some trolling neighbor. Well, then why were you implicating management? It says right here in the story, we can't even go use the amenities that we pay for. Yes, you can. The implication there is that the manager is stopping you from doing that. Of course you can. As far as the other sign that was placed near the property entrance, it reads, "Warning, racist property manager, don't sign," as in don't sign a lease agreement here.
Presuming that they wrote that.
Are we just going to ignore the fact none of these stories mention? It's obvious that both of these signs were written by the same person. The handwriting is identical.
It's exactly the same, yeah. They didn't even try to hide it. These are low effort hoax hate.
So clearly someone was trying to frame property management for something that is, at least this is my read on it. Somebody has had conflict with property management, is trying to frame them as racist for certain benefits that may be obtained.
No.
Highly likely it is these 2 women themselves.